Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And, you know, I can't believe it's already January 21st, 2019. So 21 days have already, well, almost 21 days have already passed in 2019. And I look back and I'm like, what the heck have I accomplished? Especially when it comes to my YouTube channel and getting new radios to review on my channel. So anyway, I decided this year, instead of just wishing for things, I'm going to find radios to review. And I made a quick list of just things off the top, radios off the top of my head that I would like to review this year. And I'm going to show them to you. And I'm asking for your help. If you see any of these radios for sale on eBay or any other place, let me know. You can send me an email to TRRS73@gmail.com. I'd like to review these radios. Let's go. And these are in no particular order. So these I'm mainly going to do, my list is on shortwave radios, and here's some of just general shortwave radios, some of which I've reviewed already. I reviewed the white version of this one right here. I've reviewed this one, which is the Eaton, or was the Grundig Eaton radio. I haven't reviewed the Bluetooth version because I've heard some bad things about it, and that's about it. Actually, boy, I thought that was me, but that's not me. That's not me. All right. So now I'm going to go through and show you just a small smattering of radios I'd like to find this year. So we're going to start off with a Sony. This is the Sony ICF-6700W. And this is a pretty cool looking radio. Reports I've read, it's a good receiver. And I'd really like to try one for myself to really find out if it's a good radio or not. Nice looking radio. Japanese radios back in the days of like this one here were pretty darn good radios. And unfortunately, Sony doesn't make too many new radios like this, similar to this. And the Chinese radios, they're a little, well, iffy. I want to say iffy. Sometimes you can get a review of a Chinese radio and the guy says it's great, and then you go buy one and it's a piece of junk. Their quality control is not that good. So anyway, that's the first one. The next one is another Sony. This is the ICF-SW55. I really like the looks of this radio. It's had good reviews. I have one similar to this that I have reviewed, which I think is the SW77. I think that's the model number, and I really like that radio. It's a good radio. Some people don't like this jog wheel for tuning. I think it's cool. I like it. So I'm looking for one of those. One thing nowadays is I'm not into repairing radios, so I'm looking for a radio that's 100% functional. It's clean. The screen is not all scratched up. The batteries haven't leaked. So I'm pretty particular, and that's one of the reasons I haven't found these radios that I'm showing you, and I may have to lower my standards and just, you know, go for one that looks good. Anyway, moving on. Zenith. This is, oops, I didn't want to show you that picture particularly. This is the, here it is, Zenith Transoceanic Royal 7000. Now they made, this is a series, 1000, 3000, 7000. I found locally, I found the 1000. I did a review of that. Pretty nice radio, but it wasn't very sensitive on shortwave. The reviews I've heard of the 7000 is they improved the sensitivity quite a bit. So I'm looking for a 7000. Again, I need one in nice condition because I just don't have the patience to fix radios anymore. So that's the next one. Next one is another Sony. This is the older one, is the R6000. Again, they made a couple of different models. I have somewhere, I think it's at my off-site storage facility, I think I have a 500, which is not as good as the 600, so I've read. And the 500, the one I had, wasn't that good, but maybe it needed to be serviced because it is a tube radio. But I'd like to find one of those in good condition. The other problem with getting these on eBay is radios like this one are heavy, and you're going to pay quite a price for shipping, maybe $50, $60 for shipping, which I don't think that if you send it back because it wasn't as it was advertised on eBay, I don't think you get your shipping back. I don't know. I don't want to find out. Anyway, so that's what I'm looking for. I've been trying to find one of these locally, either on eBay from somebody that's near me that I could go drive to it and pick it up and not pay shipping, or on Craigslist, do the same thing. Anyway, moving on. This one is one that I've lusted after for probably 3 or 4 years, and that's the Eaton E1. Now, the reviews I've seen on this have been mixed. Some of them say this is a fantastic radio, and some people say it's garbage. I'm willing to take the risk and get one and review for myself, find out for myself. Is it a good radio? Again, now this is another radio that, as you can see right here, it was originally a Grundig Satellite 900, and then when Eaton bought Grundig out, this is my understanding, they changed it to this model, and I think they changed a few things, and I think that's when the quality of the radios being made by Eaton was not as good as those made by Grundig. It's kind of universally true. Oh, I'm looking for one of those. One more Grundig, and this is the Grundig Satellite 650. This is an old radio. One of my viewers who has a YouTube channel has one of these, and he's done a couple of reviews of it, and I relust after this because, and I'm not positive this is how it works, but I think this is how it works. You use this keypad to dial in a frequency, and when you hit enter or whatever it is, there's a motor and mechanism that drives the dial, and so when you hit enter, you take your hands off the radio, and all of a sudden it tunes to that frequency. That just blows my mind. And look at all these knobs to play with. Oh my gosh, I'd love to get one of these in good condition. I suspect they probably had problems with that mechanism that does the tuning. Anyway, so that's the Grundig Satellite 650. All right, moving on. This one is a scanner radio, and it came out maybe 4 years ago. It's put out by Uniden, and it's a pretty cool radio. It's kind of a computerized radio. It's a standalone little radio. Let me see if this is a good picture. It doesn't show. I was hoping there would be something in the background here that give you some idea of the size. But this is about 4 by 6, and the screen is probably 4 by 5 or something like that. But it's like using a scanner radio on the internet because it's digital, gives you a lot of information on the screen. It has a built-in database which you can update. The database has thousands and thousands of frequencies built into it, and you can search on a state and a county, and it will bring up the frequencies in that area. Again, it has to be updated, otherwise the data is stale. And they made 2 models. They made a Model 1, and then a couple years later They made some enhancements. I don't know what the enhancements are, and they made a Model 2. I'm looking for either one. A Model 1 sometimes you can find for under $150. But again, a lot of them hadn't been taken care of. The new one, I think, is close to $400. I don't want to pay that much for a scanner radio. Okay, moving on. SDR Play. This is, I have the SDR Play RSP1, which I bought, and I have the 1A, which they sent me for review, and Rob 741, they sent him the Duo, and it has a dual tuner built into one box, so you can run side by side in one instance of SDR Uno, two different receivers, and they can be tuned anywhere you want to tune. There's no restriction, and therefore there are two antennas. There's actually three. There's a high impedance antenna and a 50 ohm antenna for tuner 1, and tuner 2 is how he has a 50 ohm. I'd love to have this to use it for side-by-side testing of antennas, and that way you can run one instance of SDR Uno and have the two receivers receiving on the same frequency but having two different antennas hooked up, so you could do antenna comparison. I'd love to get one of those. I think they're right now over $200 to get one of these. Be nice if they sent me one to review. Anyway, moving on. This one is a weird radio, and it's not a very good radio. And it typically only comes in AM and FM. Some of them have AM and FM and weather band. Some have AM, FM, and long wave, such as this one right here. And the one that I desire has AM, FM, and shortwave. Now, I've seen reviews of it, and it's not that good of a receiver, but it's interesting. It just looks cool. The problem is, one of the problems is, the materials they use to make these are pretty cheap. And so the most of them you see on eBay have physical problems. Like the chrome here is chipped off. Same thing on the speaker grill. You'll see where it's the silver or the chrome finish has been chipped off, and it shows the black. This right here, this background here, is easily scratched. The wood on this is really, really cheap wood, and the finish, the paint, the finish on this tends to degrade, and you'll see a lot of like bubbling of the finish, all of which could be fixed. Well, the chrome probably couldn't be fixed very easily, but on the wood case that could be fixed. But I'm not, like I say, I'm not into fixing radios anymore. I used to do that a lot, but I don't do that anymore. So I'm looking for one of these specifically, but it doesn't have to be. I'm looking for one that has AM, FM, and shortwave. This one has long wave. I've never seen one except on one YouTube channel if someone reviewed it. And then there's this crazy configuration here. Again, a lot of this is just for looks. Like these tubes are probably, they probably got a voltage going to the heaters and they light up and that's it. They're not used in the radio. But it's just a cool looking radio. And then the thing is, it's kind of weird in that it's kind of an old style radio with these tubes up here, but it has, some of them have a DVD or CD player and a cassette player, which, like, whoa, no, I didn't have those back then. So it's pretty cool. I'm looking, even this model is a cool little model. On this one, a lot of times the CD player doesn't work, and some of the switches on the tape player don't work. So again, I'm not looking to find one to fix it. This one's in pretty good shape, although you can see a little problem here with the wood on the side here where it's starting to delaminate. Anyway, that's one. I'm looking for one of those just for the novelty of it. Like I say, the reviews I've seen as far as the receiver, not that good. Not that good. Anyway, moving on. Now, I don't know why I put this on the list, because it's way out of my price range, But this one, I'm not sure why I even did it, but it's a cool radio. This is the ICOM R8600, and a couple of my viewers have this radio, and I'm like, oh, gee, it's so nice. But anyway, I'm going to skip on to that one, because I think they're, up here it says 2,500 dollars and up. Forget that. Okay, why did I put that on the list? Now this one is a whole bunch of. I just searched for Panasonic radios, and there's a bunch of Panasonic radios. Let me go to the top here that I'd like to have. Now this one here I did find locally for $100, pristine condition, except the medium wave shortwave switch is intermittent. You have to jiggle it to get shortwave, but eventually you get shortwave. I haven't taken it apart to clean it. Otherwise, it works great. This is a cool radio. Let me see if this is a good picture. Yeah, it's a pretty good picture. I love this dual dial system and a digital display, so you can get some accuracy on the frequency. Lots of controls and knobs, so I love controls and knobs. So I don't need this one, but again, Rob 741, he has, for instance, he has this one here. This is the RF 1150. I'd like to find one of those in good condition. I wish he'd sell me his, but I'm sure he won't depart. Yeah, he won't do that. There's several of these. Let me just click on, let's go back. Let's click on this one. That's a good picture. I'd like to find one of these. It's an 8-band radio. Does not have digital display, but nice smooth tuning. Reviews have said that it's a good receiver. I'd like to have one of that. I like this, the title of this, an early birthday gift. Oh boy, that would be nice to have for my birthday. Oh well, let's go on. I think I'm done. That's it. So if you see any of these radios, oh, this one I wanted to point out too. This is a Panasonic RF-2800. I think there's a couple of models like this. This is a car radio. It's a mobile radio. And reviews have pointed out that it's a great shortwave receiver. And I can see there's a couple of models similar to this. So I'm looking for one of those. Is that the same thing? Yeah, it's the same thing. But there's a number of Panasonic radios that I'm looking for. This one here, for instance. And let me just see if there's any other that I can show you real quick. No, I was trying to see another one. Rob has another one. I don't remember the model number. But he says this one is actually a better radio, even though the other one is a newer model, but his reception is not as good. Okay, that's it. Again, if you see any radios like this for sale, please drop me an email at trrs73@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. That tells me I'm doing shows you like. And have a great day. Bye-bye.